The media has a psychological impact on children's minds, shaping attitudes and affecting their long-term behavior. And joining us this morning to discuss how our children processing violence in social media is JamPsych's associate psychologist, Yanique Peddlar. Good morning, Yanique.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's an important discussion that we're having just now. I just want to share a little bit of statistics. More than half of TV programs contain violence. 75% of parents believe violent content on TV contributes to aggressive behavior in children. And when you take a look at our society and how poorly we handle conflicts, we don't resolve them generally without some kind of violence being involved, whether verbal or in some cases physical. It's extreme in some cases, being fatal. What are we really looking at here?
Well, violence, as you said, is widespread, and we're exposed to it in media of all types. And I think that as a society, we're very much desensitized to it, and it affects not only children, but all of us. You might go on WhatsApp and you're there inadvertently scrolling through statuses, and then when you look, there is something that is full of blood and gore. It's like coming at you constantly. So wherever you go, violence is around, but we're able to mitigate against that by curating what it is that we view on social media. And parents have an important role to play in terms of managing their children's exposure to violence in the media to preserve their mental health.
Do you think part of the problem is that the parents themselves have become so desensitized to it? Because you're just seeing it over and over. After a while, it almost seems normal. And so even when the children are looking at it, they don't curate it. They feel that's just how it is. Is that part of the problem?
That's true. And part of it is probably ignorance on their part. They might think that, it's harmless, it's all around. You might go down the road, depending on where in Jamaica you live, and you're passing bodies, and it's like nothing at all. But the truth of the matter is that exposure to violence does have an impact on us, and it has been shown, I think Garth alluded to that it allows us to, develop an attitude where the violence doesn't matter. You become desensitized to it. And children who are exposed to violence, after a while, become violent and aggressive themselves. So you'll see it coming out in their play. You see it coming out in how they interact with their peers.
Yeah.
I noticed something, as you mentioned, children acting it out because it's become normal to them. It's just normalized into their lives. When I take a look at how children will discipline each other. So like an older brother, say even 5, has a younger sibling or, or older sister, it doesn't even matter, right? And they'll say, sit down, mommy say you're not to move. And as soon as the child moves, then immediately they get hit, Does it go beyond just seeing the violence around you, but also living through it? Because you're talking about parents and others with responsibility and who have authority over children using violent means to enforce rules.
Yes, corporal punishment is still very much a thing. And whenever we're aggressive, children model that. So they're like little sponges. They pick up on cues, and it's important to model in front of them pro-social behavior, so that they will not demonstrate antisocial behavior, aggressiveness in how they respond. And as you said, showing them how to resolve conflict without using violence. That's important.
Boy, let me tell you, Yanique, there's a time when you watch our cartoons, the characters would hammer each other in the head, and they would, but you hammer a character and the character bounces back okay. So I felt like when the children are constantly fed that, they didn't even understand the repercussions of violence, because in a cartoon, you hit somebody and then bounce back, yay, and I'm okay. Is it important, because it's something I keep lobbying for, that we create content that will also help to shape the way kids see behavior towards each other?
Yes, it's important that we create content that demonstrates pro-social behavior. And of course, talk to your children about what it is that they're seeing. It's important for you to be a safe space where you can talk to them about it, monitor the content that they see. So you're in media, you know that before every program there's an advisory that lets you know this is PG. So it's important when you see PG to do PG. And also, it's important to talk to them about how what they're viewing is impacting them and be observant. Look around. Do you notice if your child is demonstrating signs of trauma? Are they starting to wet the bed? Are they starting to cry more than usual? Do they talk about them being anxious? These sorts of things. So you have to monitor how your child is processing. Dial back some of the screen time, encourage them to do other things. Right? These are some of the steps that parents can take in mitigating against violence in media.
I like that point because it's very important for parents to actually parent. You know, talk to your children. You may do something in your home, pardon me, which is quote unquote the right thing. You're encouraging those pro-social behaviors as you mentioned just now. But then you leave the home and they go to school. So you might curate their Instagram feed, their TikTok feed, you know, what friends they have on their WhatsApp, whatnot. But then they leave your home and then they go into spaces where there are other children who aren't really doing the same thing. They're doing almost the opposite.
Yeah.
How do you ensure, or is it at all possible to ensure that your influence at home is, you know, goes all the way into the different environments in which they interact?
Well, it really depends on the child's age. So if you have a child that is like under 7, then you have a greater amount of leverage in terms of what it is that they see. You can decide your Netflix password. You can decide what channels you will exclude from your home. But for teens, they get a lot of their influence independent of you. Right. They're looking for an avenue to express themselves. They're looking for an avenue to find community. And the thing that we can do as parents, for teens especially, is to try to be a safe place where they can talk about what's happening. So beyond violence, you have things happening like cyberbullying. You have people on platforms pretending to be children and propositioning them sexually, that sort of thing. Adults too, they know what it is to have an unwanted pic come up, somebody texts you. Sometimes children will be scrolling through stuff and they're not even looking for bad content per se, but it will come up.
At them, yeah.
So having a space where they can discuss is important, because what happens sometimes is that it's when the parent is called into a parent meeting that they find out that, oh, there's a video of my child that has gone viral. And then when you get the backstory, somebody at school was bullying them, somebody at school was, you know, blackmailing them, that sort of thing. So talk to your children, show interest in their interests. If you notice that your son is a gamer, play a game with him.
Right.
If you notice that your child says, Mommy, look at this meme, let them show you the meme, use that to spark a discussion so that they're mindful of what it is that they're consuming.
And we gotta go.
Yeah. I just wanted to add one quick thing though. I think it's important to get that influence, that parental influence in early, rather than waiting to play catch up when they're in their teens. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
For being here and speaking
Thank
with us.
you,
It's a
my
very
pleasure.
important conversation. Garth said it, parents need to parent and protect your children. Jam Sykes, associate psychologist.
Caribbean Tots to Teens.
Caribbean Tots the team. All right, sit here. But a member of
Of Jam Sykes.
Jam Sykes. Yes. Yanique Peddlar. Coming up next, what we're going to be talking about?
Electric buses in Jamaica. You don't want to stick up. Sorry, you want to stick around for that one.